In ancient Egypt, every pharaoh wanted to leave behind a legacy that would outlive him. He wanted to be remembered long after his death, and so they built huge tombs for themselves, filled with treasures and riches beyond measure. They constructed giant temples dedicated to their own greatness, but none of these things compare to the one thing that they all did to ensure their immortality: the pyramids. These massive stone structures were supposed to be the ultimate symbol of the pharaoh's power. But what was life like inside these pyramids? Did the pharaohs live in luxury, or were they more concerned about appearances than comfort? Join us as we explore the Great Pyramids and find out how life was really lived within them. The construction of the pyramids is still a mystery to this day. These ancient structures are truly some of the greatest feats of engineering ever seen by mankind. But how exactly did the Egyptians manage to build such large structures? The answer, it seems, lies in the details. You see, the pyramids weren't just thrown together at the last minute. They were planned for years in advance. In fact, many scholars believe that the planning for a pyramid began during the reign of the pharaoh, before the one who would be buried there. This pharaoh would commission the building of the pyramid, and then he would oversee its construction until it was finished. Once the pyramid was complete, his successor would be buried there. But how were these structures actually built? Well, we don't know for sure, but archaeologists have found evidence that suggests the Egyptians used ramps to move the stones into place. This theory is supported by several factors, including the fact that the Egyptians didn't have any other way to move such large objects. And it also makes sense that they would have used ramps, since they were already using ramps to move goods up and down the sides of the pyramids. However, it's important to note that this is just a theory, and while it's likely that the Egyptians used ramps to move the stones, there's no actual evidence to prove it. Despite this, the construction of the pyramids is still a mystery to this day. How the Egyptians managed to build such large structures with such precision is truly amazing. It's a feat of engineering that has never been duplicated. Now let's take a look at the inside of the pyramid. What was it really like to live in such a structure? We often think of the pyramids as being cold and lifeless, but the truth is, they were actually quite the opposite. The interior of the pyramids was decorated with beautiful artwork and hieroglyphics, and the chambers were filled with all kinds of treasures. In fact, the burial chamber of the pharaoh was often filled with more treasure than could ever be carried by a team of elephants. The Egyptians believed that the pharaoh would need all of these riches in the afterlife, so they made sure to bury them with him. The Great Pyramid of Giza was the largest and most elaborate of the three pyramids. It was built for the pharaoh Khufu, and it took over 20 years to complete. The Great Pyramid was 481 feet tall when it was finished, but today it stands at only 455 feet due to erosion. Even though it's not as tall as it once was, it's still the tallest man-made structure in Egypt and the third tallest in the world. The Great Pyramid was originally white, but the limestone that covered it has since been stripped away. If the limestone were still there, the Great Pyramid would be even more impressive than it is today. It's hard to imagine what life was like inside the pyramid, but we can get a glimpse from the few artifacts that have been found. For example, archaeologists found a small stash of beer inside one of the pyramids. This tells us that the workers who built the pyramid likely drank beer while they worked. They may have even brewed their own beer inside the pyramid. Another artifact that was found inside the pyramid was a workers' village. This was a small settlement where the workers who built the pyramid lived. It's amazing to think that these people were living in such close quarters while working on such a massive project. But it's also a reminder that the pyramids weren't just built by slaves. The workers who built the pyramids were likely paid for their work and given food and lodging in exchange. One of the most interesting finds inside the pyramid was a secret tunnel. This tunnel was never supposed to be found by archaeologists, but it was accidentally discovered when they were excavating the site. The tunnel leads to a secret chamber where a sarcophagus was found. The sarcophagus is decorated with hieroglyphics, and it's believed to be the final resting place of an architect named Hemiunu. Hemiunu is thought to be the architect who designed the pyramid, and he likely died before it was completed. As you can see, there's much more to the pyramids than meets the eye. While they may appear to be cold and lifeless from the outside, they were actually quite the opposite. The interior of the pyramids was decorated and filled with treasure, and the workers who built them lived in relative comfort. While exploring the pyramids, you'll likely come across many artifacts that will give you a glimpse into life in ancient Egypt. One of the most common artifacts you'll find are pieces of pottery. This is because the Egyptians were master potters, and they produced all kinds of different vessels for everyday use. You'll also find tools that were used by the Egyptians to build the pyramids and other structures. These tools are often made of copper or bronze, and they show the Egyptians' advanced understanding of metallurgy. In addition, you'll likely find jewelry made from gold, silver, and precious stones. The Egyptians loved to adorn themselves in jewelry, and they believed that it could protect them from evil spirits. Finally, you may also find mummies and sarcophagi. The Egyptians believed that the soul of the dead person could return to visit them, so they often mummified their loved ones and placed their sarcophagi in their homes. When visiting the pyramids, it's important to remember that they were once home to real people who lived and died there. By exploring the pyramids and learning about life in ancient Egypt, we can gain a greater understanding of our world and our place in it. The Egyptian pyramids are truly a wonder of the ancient world. These massive structures are a testament to the ingenuity and hard work of the ancient Egyptians. Exploring the pyramids gives us a glimpse into life in ancient Egypt and the legacy of the pharaohs. So if you're ever near Cairo, be sure to visit the pyramids and experience the history for yourself. So what do you think? How would you have liked to live in an Egyptian pyramid? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos about ancient Egypt. Thanks for watching.